Hello, friends. Al Iverson here. It's time for another one of your email authentication and deliverability questions answered. Today, I want to touch on the challenges of forwarding email in 2025. At first glance, forwarding email sounds easy. You send email to an address, the recipient mail system automatically forwards it to another address, and it shows up in the second inbox. Simple, right? Well, not exactly. Modern email requirements around authentication, DMARC, spam filtering, and spoofing prevention make forwarding email surprisingly complicated. And forwarding email isn't new, it's something that's been around since the early 1980s. Back then, you could drop a .forward file into your home directory on a Unix system. That file contained one or more destination addresses, and the mail server would happily pass along any incoming mail onto those new addresses. It was a simple, user level control mechanism. On the sysadmin side, SendMail supported what was called the aliases file. That was a central configuration file where administrators could map one or more inbound addresses to others. It was commonly used to set up role accounts. Think of things like postmaster or abuse at or sales at, and then forward those messages on to real people. But it also allowed for ad hoc forwarding of personal mail, and destinations didn't have to be local addresses. Mail could be forwarded on externally. These systems didn't care about authentication or sender identity. SMTP didn't worry about message hops, IP reputation, or whether a server was truly authorized to send mail for a given domain. It just dutifully moved the message along. And for a while, that was fine, until spammers showed up, as they always do, and ruined everything. Fast forward to today. In May 2025, Microsoft rolled out new sender requirements that, among other things, require that bulk senders must pass SPF and DKIM email authentication with every message they send or forward. But here's the issue: email forwarding breaks SPF. Sender policy framework is last hop authentication, meaning that it checks the server that's actually delivering the message to it. So if you forward a message using that old school style and the destination is Microsoft hosted, the fact that messages have passed through additional servers, additional hops, means that SPF authentication checks fail. And when SPF fails, Microsoft is going to reject that email message. And let's not blame Microsoft for causing this problem. They're not the only mailbox provider rejecting mail due to SPF failures. And frankly, spammers and IP reputation led us down a path toward unreliable email forwarding more than 25 years ago. In fact, back in the late 1990s, spammers exploited email forwarding all the time. We used to refer to these exploited spam shoveling mail servers as open relays. I even built one of the first block lists to help block open relay spam. Unrestricted forwarding was a problem even back then, thanks to spammers. So, what can you do? There are a few ways to deal with this, each with its own pros and cons. First, you could use IMAP instead of forwarding. Let users pull mail instead of pushing it to them. This works, but it adds admin overhead and security considerations. Not only that, but users now have to configure a mail client to connect to this new server to retrieve this other mail. And you have to have disk space and a server to deal with that mail, to store that mail, to make it available for pickup. Number two, you could implement SRS, Sender Rewriting Scheme. This rewrites the return path of an email message so that SPF checks will pass. Google does this today when they forward email messages, but it's brittle. If DMARC was passing only because of SPF, now DMARC might fail and messages might get rejected. Third option there is rewrite headers like mailing lists do. In this approach, you forward mail by fully rewriting the headers and sending it as you, as your server, as your domain, and not as the original sender. This avoids SPF and even DKIM issues, but creates other challenges. I personally use method number three, header rewriting, just like mailing lists do. It's worked for me for years, but your mileage may vary, and I do not mean that this is a scalable solution meant to forward millions of email messages. Both SRS and header rewriting come with risks. You have to be very careful, for example, not to forward spam. If you do forward spam significantly, your server's IP reputation can suffer quickly, and you can end up blocked or see mails from that server ending up in the spam folder. And then there's option number 4, stop forwarding altogether. That's kind of a nuclear option, but if you can stop forwarding, you might be better off. Ask yourself, do you really need to forward email messages in 2025? It is a headache. It is complex, it is detailed, it is tricky, and how you do it evolves, changes over time, and doesn't always work the same in every circumstance. So, is this something you even want to deal with? There are also compliance reasons not to forward messages. In a corporate environment, forwarding bypasses retention policies. That could mean lost visibility for legal discovery or data subject requests. It could even create legal risks. Is that really something you want to worry about? All right, if you'd like to dig a little bit deeper, here are some links to some of the things I touched on in today's video. The updated Microsoft Sender requirements, a little more about the Sender rewriting scheme if that's something you're interested in understanding better. And here's a link to my 2015 blog post, Mail Forwarding in DMARC World. All right, that's everything I have for you today. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to hear your feedback, your thoughts. Feel free to drop me an email at al.iverson@valamail.com. And don't forget to visit our website at valamail.com when you're ready to embark upon your DMARC journey.